Are these on yet?
We are live. Are you about to start proceedings?
Yeah, we've got the smoking, we're about to start. And then I'm just here in case I need to ask anyone to come in and take a seat or...
Do you want to, because at the moment I've got that on shot.
I'll leave it there.
And then I was going to get Auntie Joy to do her thing straight after that, or did you want to open up?
No. I'm trying to fill space. Yeah, I'm trying to hold space.
Do it verbally,
Tom, so Auntie Joy, after you've done the smoke, we'll walk over to the polls.
Yep. Where would you
Can you give us 1 minute before we start?
Sure.
And
If you just want to come back.
Look, this is beautiful. Now, Joy. That's beautiful. Who's that for?
Auntie Pam, we've got Lydia, Auntie Joy, me, and we've got one more seat. But yeah.
Look, well, you wouldn't know.
Good. Is there anyone else we need to sit up with to get one more seat? I asked Tom, but he's happy to sit in the corner there. Tim said no. Tim cannot.
Okay, so you've got Aboriginal Victoria here.
Yeah. Oh well, we'll just take the seat away.
Yeah, just take the seat away.
We'll take that one. Oh, maybe not. I'll take this one behind the speaker. Yeah. And I'm taking the microphones on. We're not live yet, are we?
Oh, we're live in the smoke.
Yeah, great. Can I just get the microphones on? I'm just going to do this. We don't. Yeah, great.
Yes.
Thank you.
Not over the...
Yeah. That one's set.
Are they on?
Wominjaka, Babaning, Yellingville. Good morning and thank you, Notkunwa. Thank you for coming along today to celebrate the official start of National Aboriginal and Islander Week. I'd like to pay my respects to my father. It's huge when you have the privilege and the honour to say that. on this occasion, and particularly thank him for the legacy, great legacy that he has given, along with so many of our community over many years. I have my son and grandson here today, and I'm exceptionally proud to have them here. I want to acknowledge all ancestors, elders and communities across this great nation and neighbouring islands. And I also want to acknowledge especially our NAIDOC committee, and I think on stage we have Auntie Pam, and we have Stacey Piper, who's the chairperson, and we have Senator Lidia Thorpe with us, join us, which is, thank you Lydia for being here as well. Today and for the rest of the week, but not only for the rest of the week, for the rest of our lives, we celebrate who we are and where we've come from. And always, and particularly in these times, we have the moment to share our voices and share our stories. And I think particularly for me today, for Narajara Nun, for Healing Country, which is NAIDOC Week, then my heart lies with the Wurundjeri, Woiwurrung people. And of course I want to acknowledge the Jeri dancers who'll be dancing shortly, and also to say that on Corranderk Aboriginal Station there's such a wonderful legacy there, and it's important for me today to honour the presence of all of those who lived on Wurundjeri country and made to feel as important as the traditional owners during that difficult time. But it's also about you. It's about you coming here today, and I want to thank each and every one of you for, as I said earlier, for coming and making the effort. And I'm sure there'll be many more events that we'll meet up with. I've placed the branches, dampened branches, on the fire, which of course creates smoke. And the bomb bearing is the beginning of our ceremony. And when we talk about healing country, that means healing everything. It's not about just the land we walk on. It's about the people who nurtured the land. It's about their hearts that have been broken, but their soul and spirit is still strong. And it's also about what we have and what we don't have today. On the way down, we were playing an I Spot with my grandson, and we said, you know, he said something that starts with T, and too few trees around. But it does remind you of what we haven't got today. But it doesn't end there. It can mean that we have a job to do, as I'll explain shortly. Cleansing is also about cleansing everything that's around you so that you feel safe, and also to return the spirits of our ancestors back to their rightful place. Of course, with ceremony, it's always about Wominjaka, and that's welcome to the traditional lands of the people that on the land that we stand on. Of course, that's the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung. You'll see some branches scattered here at the front of the stage. Please feel free at some time to come up and take a leaf. I hope you do that. If you do, I want to say Nodjkanwa, thank you, because it means that you are welcome to everything from the tops of the trees to the roots of the earth. It also means that you join with us to continue, as I said earlier, to continue to nurture country, what we've all been given, this amazing gift. And this amazing gift needs so much nurturing to heal. So you and I and everyone should really pull our weight and make sure that we can preserve what we have at least today, for not only us today, but for tomorrow, and then for those many more that will come. It's a great pleasure being here this morning. Nodjkanwa, thank you. Thank you to the NAIDOC committee for inviting me as the senior elder of the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people. It's a real privilege and an honour. My language is the Woiwurrung, Wominjaka, Wurundjeri Balak, Yemen, Kundi Bik, and you are most welcome to the traditional lands of the Wurundjeri people. Thank you.
Thank you, Auntie Joy. Welcome, everybody. Before I go any further, we have flags that we're ready to raise first. Usually we raise the flags at the end in the front there, but they're under construction, that zone, so the flag raising looks a little bit different this year. We'll have Auntie Joy and Auntie Pam raising the Aboriginal flag. Tom Mosby and myself, or I will help Tom raise the Torres Strait Islander flag, and then we'll be back on stage. Thank you, Brent. You're just too deadly. So with the flag raising, you might have noticed that the Aboriginal flag didn't want to go any further than half-mast. So we saw that as a sign. We're leaving it as is, and the Torres Strait Islander flag is flying high. But obviously the others in front, they're where they've always been. So before I go any further again, I'd like to acknowledge that we have many community members who are suffering great loss and grief at the moment. And over the last 12 months, we've lost a lot of community members, and a lot of country has been destroyed. So while we're talking about healing country and healing our nation, we need to be pretty conscious of the fact that we're still grieving a lot of loss of country and community. So we'll go straight into a minute's silence. So if I could get you all to reflect on the theme and what that means to you, and how healing country and our nation can help with people who are just suffering at the moment. So a minute's silence. Thank you. So, yeah, Biladun Yang Wangat, Nadanik Stacey, Waranjeri Willamik, Waranjeri Balakut, Bundanai Murup Galada Bidirang, Bundanai Liwik Bulak Nugalik, Bundanai Willambik, and Bububs. So, my name is Stacey Piper. I'm the chairperson of the Victorian NAIDOC Committee. I'm a proud Wurundjeri, Dja-Dja-Wurrung and Northern Wurrung woman. I acknowledge my ancestors. I acknowledged the Bidirang, which is a Yarra River just flowing over there. I acknowledged the Willambik, which is our home country, and the Bububs, which is the children, our future. I'd also like to acknowledge Auntie Joy Murphy-Wandon for being here today, very early, and giving us a smoking and cleansing ceremony. And I acknowledge Auntie Pam, our honorary elder on the Victorian NAIDOC Committee, who's worked very hard for many, many, many years as a volunteer. So we really need to acknowledge Auntie Pam. I acknowledge Senator Lidia Thorpe for joining us today. I acknowledge all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are in the audience. I acknowledge your ancestors. I acknowledge that we are streaming live around the state. I hope we have lots of people tuning in, so I acknowledge all you mob out there watching from home or from work with your teams. I acknowledge all your old people, and I acknowledge our friends who are here, the wider community that stand in solidarity with us. I won't go on and on because we've got a couple of speakers, but before I go on, I felt it was really important just to remind people of the origins of NAIDOC. Each year we have different themes that come through, and we try to adapt to those, but while always remembering that the origins of NAIDOC started with a day of mourning. So sometimes it's hard to refer to it as a celebration, because I think here in Victoria we start the week with a flag raising. Then we acknowledge all the people working hard out on country, using their platforms, using their voices. They're courageously out there advocating and standing up to the injustices that our people have been facing for over 250 years. So we hand out awards, which we didn't get to do that this year. So we're hoping to do that in October, and it's looking good. We've got restrictions easing and communities working so well together. So October is when we'll be holding those awards. Then we go on to celebrate with, or gather with the Pride community for a Pride night where we crown 2 Pride winners, also happening in October. And then we go on to March. So Friday is the March. This is something that I'm pretty sure most mob look forward to every year. Tens of thousands of people gather. We start at Victorian Aboriginal Health Service. We walk down to Parliament steps. We protest. And the day of mourning started as a protest. In 1938, Uncle William Cooper called on many people. There was a big congress of people that gathered and protested, and it was the first civil rights movement in the world. So that's pretty amazing. We have to keep that fire burning. This year we can't march because, you know, us mob come in large numbers, so hopefully October we can do that. And then after we've done all of that, we celebrate. So we celebrate with a gala ball where we get together and we listen to music and we dance and we celebrate each other. And that's something that us mob do. You know, there's lots of trauma, yes, but we love to have fun. We love to have a laugh. We love music. We love dancing and coming together. So October, we're really excited. Keep your eyes on the website, the Victorian NAIDOC website, for the events in October. We're trying our best to get information out, but at the moment it's, you know, dates and things like that. But we'll get there, and we thank you for your patience. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce the Jiri dancers, Mandy Nicholson, and how many Jiris we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 today. So here's the Jiris.
Beladu Nyan Wangat Naranik Mandy. And I'm not going to keep speaking in language because my beautiful cousin Stacey said everything that I would like to say as well, because listening to my cousin speak in language is really fulfilling for me and my community and her daughter and all of her little nieces and cousins, watching such a staunch leader speak in her mother tongue. So I'm going to leave my acknowledgement with her. She's a custodian of the Wurundjeri people, and I just wanted to acknowledge her and the amazing stuff that she does as chair for Vic NAIDOC over the last few years. She's brought the best NAIDOCs that I can remember, and this is, I don't know, is this your final year, Cuz?
I don't know yet.
Well, I think we want her forever because she brings such brightness to NAIDOC. But one thing about NAIDOC that I don't like is the cold weather. So can we have NAIDOC in like October, please? Well, it is happening this year in October. But it's something also that with that cold weather, it brings a renewal, a refreshing. You wake up bright and early, and it's such a vibe that you have in your body knowing that it's NAIDOC week. Because this week acknowledges us as First Nations people, it acknowledges our languages, our culture, our families. And it's something that the wider community are starting to acknowledge on a larger scale, because who watched Channel 10 News, I think last night, saw it on Facebook. It said NAIDOC week weather. It may be something little like that, but it means so much to be acknowledged in the mainstream that way, because we always seem to be... Are you still out there, guys? I'm over here. Well, I've been cleansed. I don't mind, because that smoke coming out of there is very cleansing. You breathe that in. If you've got a cough or a sniffle, come and smell this and it'll clear everything, clear your lungs. So I just wanted to acknowledge the people that do acknowledge NAIDOC Week and that are starting to make it something that's mainstream, because we're sick of being on the sidelines. So what we're going to do today is we're going to just have a little snapshot of Wurundjeri culture. I know a lot of you have seen us dance before, but over the years you've watched the younger ones grow into strong leaders, and they can sing in their language, and that is so powerful. It's so grounding to be able to sing in your mother tongue, because out of the 38 languages in this state that is now known as Victoria, was never a state, none of those languages are spoken fluently every day. I think there's about 16 or under 20 languages are spoken by children at home as their first language. out of 600 plus languages in this country. So we're trying to break that cycle of not knowing our language, waking up our sleeping languages by creating dances and songs that people can learn, and when you walk away from today, you'll have these tunes in your head and hopefully you'll remember some of the words, because the more people that know these songs and sing these words, the more happy that our ancestors will be. So we're going to do our Womanjika Nyarka, a welcome dance that honours these beautiful people sitting behind me, the aunties, and all of those trailblazers before us that have made it easier for us these days because they did all the hard yards. We've got a lot of hard work to still do. As the queen of hard work behind us, Lidia, I'm very proud to have her speak for me and my community with such a staunch, powerful voice. It's always really beautiful to have strong, powerful women. Auntie Pam, oh my God, I can't even say anything about her. She's beautiful. She's always been involved in community, and that's really warm. I'm warm now. Thanks for that. Thanks for that. And having all these women physically standing behind me, sitting behind me, I feel their strength. So we're just going to do our Womanjika Nyarka now and just a couple more dances. And if you are feeling up to it to get a little bit warm, we might get yous moving as well. So this is our Womanjika Nyarka, a welcome dance, and it's about being heard. It's about being loud and proud of who we are, and it's about calling our ancestors from the north, south, east and west. Waranjare, waranjare al naramo. Waranjare, waranjare al naramo. Waranjare, waranjare al naramo. Bambocho maninga, bambocho maninga. Wangan you know, dula pagarok. Wangan you know, dula pagarok. Ngagaje, 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 ngagaje. Wangan you know, dula pagarok. Wangan you know, dula pagarok. Ngagaje, 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 ngagaje. Win maleo, coreno, calen bariamo, momelamo, womanjika, womanjika. And I wanted to also acknowledge little Fenna. Fenna's a little Jiri, and I could see a little face singing down there in her chair. And that's why we do what we do. We get our little kids involved as soon as they're born, basically, because we want them to grow up with their culture from birth, because it's something that many of us didn't have an opportunity to grasp a hold of because our parents didn't have that opportunity. It was taken from them. So in terms of all of that stuff I just said, it all relates to healing country, because if we heal our murup, our spirit, we heal country. If we're sick, if our spirit is sick, country is sick. Stuff like this that we do heals country, it heals our souls, and it's the same entity. Our country and our soul is the same thing. So the next one we're going to do is our country dance, and then we're going to do a chant that is something that was not heard in this place that now, where all these buildings are, was not heard for over 180 years. We'll do that after this one. But this is our country dance, and this is all about the 6 layers of country: the below country, on country, water country, sky country, and forest country above the clouds. And this is all interconnected, and there are all intricate little smaller connections in between, but this is what connects us to country, plural countries. So this is our Vic NAIDOC, our country dance. Waranjere, waranjere ao narapo, 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 narapo. Waranjere, waranjere, ao narapo, 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 narapo. Tarangap, tarangapik, kunjalal, kunjalal, willamu, 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 willamu. Tarangap, tarangapik, kunjalal, kunjalal, willamu, 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 willamu. Wuru, 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 pik, kunjuang, kunjuang, ngang, 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 ngang. Wuru 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 big kunjuang kunjuang nga 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 nga. Nurmut big kuranga kuranga ngulu 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 ngulu. Nurmut big kuranga kuranga ngulu 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 ngulu. Big umbrella, umbrella, morenda, 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 morenda. Bandani big umbrella, umbrella, morenda, 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 morenda. Big victory, yambalak, yambalak, narga, 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 narga. Big victory, yambalak, yambalak, narga, 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 narga. Big kutero, no, ngarimbil, 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 ngarimbil. Big kutero, no, ngarimbil, 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 ngarimbil. Oh, thanks to Brent for playing the Yidaki. He always does it perfectly with our songs, and I always think it brings our songs that level up from what we just have with my voice. So I wanted to do something really powerful now that I'm noticing when I'm singing, my voice bounces back from the buildings that are around us and it echoes. So we need to make sure our voice is loud, proud, and echoes forever. And this dance, or the dance associated with this song, it's a Barak or William Barak song that is all about the wetland songlines because it's about two pelicans, Wajaleya and Burundangala. Wajal is our Woiwurrung name for pelican, Burundangala is Western Victoria, and then we've got Gunnawara the black swan and Genawul the duck. And they're all wetland water birds, and this is about travelling across country because the pelican is the one that travels and has all these instincts about, you know, when Lake Eyre fills, it knows, right, I'm going to go up there and nest. They have all these beautiful instincts. So this chant is something that we always need to keep alive and strong as well. So this is our William Barak or Barak's chant of the wetland songlines. Nga Wachalea bundia genan wol nga Burundangala yelangia guna wara nga Wachalea bundia genan wol nga Burundangala yelangia guna wara nga Wachalea bundia genan wol nga Burundangala yelangia guna wara nga Wachalea bundia genan wol nga Burundangala yelangia guna wara nga Wachalea bundia genan wol nga Burundangala yelangia guna wara nga Wachalea bundia genan wol nga Burundangala yelangia guna wara nga. Yay! Yay! So we're going to finish off now, and so other people can come up and showcase whatever they're showcasing this morning, because we are launching NAIDOC Week it's always really special to be part of these kind of events because we really need to make the wider community see and hear us more and more every year. So we're going to finish off with our lyrebird dance, and this is all about the spiritual bird, the lyrebird or the bullen, giving us language because he copies all the languages of all the different animals around him. And we're representing the female lyrebirds, looking for their equal partner in life, the one with the strongest, loudest voice. And I'm all about these strongest, loudest voices, but you can't be heard if you've got a little voice. So this is our bullen nyarka, our lyrebird dance. Ngangak nyulu bulak, nyaga nyulu bulak, yinga nyulu bulak, Dobaji nyelu bulak, Dobaji nyelu bulak, Garamne nige, bal nige, Garamne nige, bal nige, boom boom yellow, boom boom yellow, Nyanga ke boom boom, murab koyep koyep, Nyanga ke boom boom, murab koyep koyep, Nyanga tumbanya, wina tumbanya, tumbanya wanganye nyolo, ke wanganye nyolo, liwit pulak yolo, liwit pulak yolo, liwit pulak yolo, liwit pulak yolo. Nunggojan and see long, big, strong voices. Get rid of that helicopter up there. Thank you very much.
Okay, so before I introduce our next speaker, I'd just like to acknowledge our committee who have been working really hard behind the scenes. We have Leslie Jackson-Loper here, who has been acting co-chair, supporting me in the role of chair and getting our meetings together because I've been working on an exhibition on country. So thank you, Leslie. And yeah, one of the hardest working women ever. I'd like to acknowledge Rudy Lewis-Taylor, who's here, Maylene Slater-Burns, and, gosh, I'm having a mental blank for it. Benny Clark! Sorry, I hope I didn't deafen anyone. Benny Clark. He's always too shamed, that's why it left my brain. But thank you guys for all your hard work. They're super amazing and work so well together. We should be really proud. I'd like to acknowledge the Federation Square for supporting us in holding this event here. You guys have been amazing, particularly Caroline Ralph-Smith. Thank you, the CEO. And we'd, of course, always acknowledge Tom Mosby, the CEO of the Koori Heritage Trust. Thank you for always being here and supporting us. I think that's everybody. Tim Kanoa's here today, which is amazing. From it's now First Peoples State Relations, not Aboriginal Victoria. So I acknowledge you. Thanks for joining us, Tim. And Josh Smith, I can see you there. I don't know if there's Andy. Andy Gargett is here also. And Inala Cooper, thanks for being here today. So the next speaker I'd like to introduce is Auntie Pam, the Honorary Elder on the NAIDOC Committee.
Good morning, everyone. Isn't it cold? I felt like dancing too. My legs started shaking, that's why I needed my coat. But it's so lovely to see you all here this morning. But first of all, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we stand on, and I pay my respect to our elders, past, present and emerging. It's so lovely to see you all here, and Fed Square just looks beautiful. When I arrived here this morning and I was walking up here and I just thought, oh gosh, this looks lovely. And then I saw the stage and I thought, holy moly, looks like I'm speaking on the stage. I haven't spoken on here for many, many years. So here I am, and I'm glad you can see me because I'm only 4'11", so I'm not down on the ground and you're at my feet, so which is really good, isn't it? However, I would just like to share my story about NAIDOC. I always like to remember each NAIDOC, and I say the same thing each time, every year, but I like remembering my old days. My old days in Northcote with my parents, Pastor Sir Doug and Lady Nichols, my family members and other community members who used to help us put the NAIDOC together on freezing cold mornings, walking up and down past the Northcote Town Hall, shaking our tins for NAIDOC. Why did we do this? We cherished NAIDOC, and also we needed money, so that was our fundraising day. And our fundraising day was for our hostels in Northcote. So there would be a lot of people helping us, shaking the tins, not only in Northcote, but other places around Melbourne. So during that night then, we'd have our ball at the Northcote Town Hall. But prior to that, during the day, we'd meet many people. We'd share our stories about our community, about what NAIDOC means, and why we were fundraising. And it was always for our hostels and for our young people coming down from the country who didn't have anywhere to stay. And my parents, they used to help them. And they'd stay at our place in Northcote. And many times we'd have, so many people with us. My bedroom was never empty. I never had a room to myself. I was always sharing. And that's what I like to do, share. And I would just like to think about our theme also for today, Heal Country. Heal Country to me is about our elders. Look what we're going through now, last year and this year with COVID. Some of our elders need healing. We need to hug them, have a cup of tea and have a yarn. As I'm living in Shepparton now, I love being up there with our elders, and I haven't been able to go to the aged care facility to visit them. And when I have seen them, they've said to me, Auntie, we miss people coming in, and they're very tearful, and I love going in there when I can to share. And this is healing to me. And I think, if you see any of our elders, give them a hug, give them a lift, even have a cup of tea, just to put a smile on our face. Because look at me, I'm an elder too, but I just love being my elder. I just like, how I am, how I love to share with people and think of everyone and think of our children as well. But I would just like to share that with you. Our elders, we need healing too. So have a cup of tea, take them for a walk, because look at our people all over Australia, not only Aboriginal people, but non-Aboriginal people as well. So it's a good theme, Heal Country. And thank you all and enjoy our NAIDOC. Thank you.
Well, I forgot to put the microphone down for her, she's so tiny. Thank you, Auntie Pam. I love hearing from our elders. It's really important that we sit and listen, and not just listen, but really hear what they're trying to tell us. And obviously, she spoke about some of the origins of NAIDOC and how, we had to self-fund or fundraise. And that was a lot of hard work for the committees back then. Thank you. Auntie Alice, I need to acknowledge as well, one of my aunties who's also on the NAIDOC committee, and she couldn't be here today. So Auntie Alice, if you're watching from home, on the computer or from work, we just want to acknowledge you and all your hard work also. So next up, I'll introduce Senator Lidia Thorpe, who's joined us today. So it's my pleasure to bring Lidia up.
Thank you, Stacey, and thank you to the Victorian NAIDOC Committee for inviting me back this year and being the first person to win the Caring for Country Award last year, which kind of went under the radar because we were all in lockdown. As the recipient of that award, caring for country is something that is ingrained in us as the first people of this country and your country, brothers and sisters who are here today, acknowledge you. We can't survive without healing country. And NAIDOC isn't about morning teas or dinners and happy NAIDOC. NAIDOC, as you've heard today, came from a day of protest on the 26th of January 1938, where William Cooper called for a day of mourning in this country to understand the plight of this country's first people. Now, some bureaucrat somewhere changed that, and that's why we have morning teas, and we all feel good about NAIDOC Week. Well, I don't feel good about NAIDOC Week when it's not genuine. When our story and our struggle has changed because of the bureaucracy we have to deal with, who takes our word self-determination, who takes our word treaty, who logs our country, who has the dirtiest coal-fired power station on Gunai country that's killing people, who wants to condemn 800-year-old birthing trees on the Western Highway of the Djaparung people. Let's be real, people. Let's be real. I'm not up here to talk gammon and be gammon. I wasn't born that way. I was held up by strong women like we've got behind me, and the strong men that also are behind me and work towards eradicating this systemic racism that we endure as black people in this country. I acknowledge the bureaucrats in the audience. Good fellas, but time to change it up too, brothers. Time to change it up. You know, we've known each other for a long time and we go in different paths, but we've got to meet back. And we've got to heal this country, because if we don't do it, then we're all stuffed. And we can't do it when we're logging country. We can't do it while we're burning fossil fuels and opening up new gas in this country. Apparently on my country, on Gunditjmara country, which we're still trying to find out. Our people and the bureaucrats need to understand the damage and destruction that's been going on for over 200 years. 200 years. So I'm not going to just be a gammon recipient of care for country. I'm going to walk the talk of what it means to care for country. And it's not a policy or program, it's action. And NAIDOC is a day of mourning. We need a day of mourning in this country, and we need to protect country for our future generations. Thank you for coming. Thank you, NAIDOC, for taking the chance of having me do a rant here today. But I'll take the opportunity while I can. And yes, have a happy NAIDOC, but protect and care for country at the same time. Thanks.
Thank you, my sister Lidia. It's really important that we have this strong voice at events like this, as Lidia mentioned, the morning teas and the dinners and the gatherings and, you know, happy NAIDOC week. It's really important that we're sensitive to mob who aren't feeling very happy at this time, and country is suffering. You know, I live up on that country where it's being logged, and I see the big logging trucks coming out on the daily, and that's our old growth forest. It's the lungs of the planet. And while we're talking about healing country, I mean, why should we heal country? We shouldn't be. It should be left the way it is. That we should be celebrating country. That's what we should be celebrating. So I thank you all for coming here today. I'd like to introduce Brent for one last, how did we wordsmith it? Cultural ceremony performance. We don't like to say perform because he's not performing, he's conducting ceremony. So I thank you all for making the time to come out today. Thank you to all the mob tuning in. And as I mentioned, and I'll say it again, please be sensitive to mob. It's not a celebration until we really speak our words and voices, create platforms for mob to speak about the concerns they have on country and with our people. And you know, and then we can celebrate. Thank you.